Let's see. How do I begin this knowing all we're going to talk about today? Oh, yeah. I know what to do and I know what to say. And it goes like this. Anthony Davis, LeBron James, y'all some bitches.
I'll add to it. Stephen A. Smith, you a dumb bitch. Now let's go.
On your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning. Kevin Durant, you should have left California.
This Bronzexual upset me in having to bring this teenage idiot from Wisconsin into a sports conversation. Are you really surprised the Cowboys are giving up on Ezekiel Elliott?
Whoa. Hell no! Well, no one cares about baseball.
Bitch, are you for real?
Oh, yeah! Time to get this party started. Good morning. Welcome to the Taco Twisted Tuesday edition of Snowman in the Morning. Glad to have y'all with us. I'm the Snowman. That's the big dog, Shane Lake. We got a new segment that we're going to premiere today. Which way did he go? That way. I watched that cartoon before I left this morning.
Which way did he go, George?
Which way did he go, George? Which way did
he go?
I did that voice for my grandchildren, and they were cracking up.
Nice.
I think one of my grandsons, Braylon, loves when I do that voice.
Nice.
Because I did it when we went to visit them in Indianapolis. And the baby, the little one, the 2-year-old, had something happen to her. So my wife and my daughter Carmen took her to the hospital. I hung out with Braylon. We were playing Fortnite. Well, he was playing Fortnite. I was just watching. And then all of a sudden, he makes a stutter step move and gets to somebody. And I just yell. I just go, which way did he go, George? Which way did he go? The next thing I hear is my grandson giggling. And I'm like, what? And he's like, do it again. All right. Which way did he go, George? Which way did he go? Kids haven't stopped laughing since.
Nice.
Kids haven't stopped laughing since.
Hey, I'm all for it, man.
I never thought I would. I never thought I would become a grandfather. Yep. Jody fixed that dream for me.
Right.
All right, let's work. The national championship has been decided, and it's the Connecticut Huskies that, I'm going to say this plainly, and a lot of Purdue people are going to hate me for it, but I'm going to say it plainly. Connecticut kicked their ass.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
Connecticut whooped that ass in Phoenix. I don't care if Zach Edey put up 33 points.
It don't help when there's no one around them putting up points.
Exactly. They had no help from the outside whatsoever. And you mentioned during the pre-show meeting, it's the same as what Iowa went through when they played South Carolina. When you have no depth, you're in trouble. It happened to Iowa, and now it has happened to Purdue. It's been the one thing that has A, kept them alive, but B, in some cases, killed them. It killed him last night. And Tristan Newton, the most outstanding player, my goodness, what a ball game. 20 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. I believe that's a stat line. And everybody saw that. I hate to say this to people that that think they know college basketball, but everybody saw this coming. It's Connecticut. Connecticut was on a roll. They rolled through the Big East tournament and rolled through their region. How are they not winning the national championship?
Tristan had 27 and 5 rebounds.
5 rebounds. Okay.
But you look at the fact that UConn had 4 players in double figures, and they were crashing the boards the entire time.
Yep.
That's something that killed Purdue, because granted, Edey went 37 and 10, but no one else was putting up production.
Right.
You had 4 players that hit the floor that had 0 points.
That ain't going to get it done.
No, it's not.
It's
truly not.
Get it done.
And and the biggest problem, the only one that was making assists, Braden Smith with 8 assists. No one else was producing with that ball.
Purdue runs kind of a stall offense with Matt Painter, and everything went through Zach Edey. Now, Zach Edey is a talent. Don't get it twisted. Zach Edey is a talent. The mistake Purdue made the last couple of years, they didn't build around him.
No,
they didn't put any strong forwards, or what they needed last night against Connecticut, they didn't put any shooters around him. Big mistake.
Massive mistake.
I just want to know why didn't Purdue put any shooters around Zach Edey when you know Zach Edey gives you a great chance of getting the ball back? That's stupid.
Very much so.
That's stupid to me. And the other thing about Purdue, should this be it for Matt Painter? Because you get Purdue all the way to the title game only to have your biggest flaw be exposed, and that's the lack of depth.
There's got to be a change in Purdue, or else they're just going to end up coming up short every time. I mean, I'm looking through the box. I'm looking through the game stats right now. They were abysmal from 3-point range, 14%. They were 73% from free throws. They were out rebounded by 5, 32-27.
Yep.
18 assists compared to 8, and that was all one player. But the biggest thing, they had 9 turnovers compared to 6 for UConn.
And that's why they lost by 15. Purdue stretched their lead out to 6 at halftime. And in the second half, they just ran away.
UConn was up 6.
UConn was up 6. Thank you. This is what I didn't have enough caffeine this morning. UConn was up 6 at the half when Purdue was within a pair. All right. Purdue was within a pair. But then Connecticut gets 4 straight to close the half. And in the second half, they run away.
Yeah, that's what it was.
They run away. They outscored them 39-30 in the second half. I mean, it's great that Zach Edey went off for 37 and 10, like you said, but he was the only one producing. Purdue shot as a team shot 44% from the field. 44% from the field. UConn was at 48.4. All right. What does that? What does that tell you? They only had 2 players, Purdue, in double figures. Only 2. Braden Smith and Zach Edey. That's all.
Yeah, and Braden Smith was 4 of 12 from the field.
Mm-hmm.
There's a problem.
1 of 2 from distance. Matter of fact, Purdue was 1 for 7 from distance. 1 for 7. Let me tell you that again, folks. 1 for 7. Meanwhile, UConn, even though they took 22 3-point field goal attempts, they made 6 of them. They made 6 of them.
Yeah. There's your 18-point difference.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why at the end of it, that's a net gain of, 15.
Yep.
They killed them from beyond the arc.
They did. And Newton was the big difference maker. I mean, they held Donovan Clingan down, Connecticut's big man, but Clingan made the right plays when he needed to, getting the ball out of the post because they sent a posse after him. He finished with 11 points and 5 rebounds, and everybody expected the ball to go through him. Clingan had 11. Castle had 15. Tristan Newton, the most outstanding player, had 20, and Spencer had 11. 4 starters in double figures for Connecticut, like you pointed out earlier. 4 starters compared to 2 for Purdue.
And the biggest thing is all 5 of their starters had at least 5 rebounds apiece.
Yep.
Castle with 5, Spencer with 8, Newton with 5, Clingan with 5, and Kanban with 6. There's a huge difference in the game right there.
Mm-hmm. I'll pose a question. Is Matt Painter, in your eyes, still on the hot seat for Purdue?
Yes. Plain and simple, yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because this exposed the one issue Purdue has, lack of depth.
And it's been their problem for a couple of years now. And
they just don't have a good draft class.
And part of that is on the recruiting.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go out and recruit players, and this is me thinking, I'm not involved in the process. I've only seen the process from afar. But you would think that you would get as many players involved as possible and have them all be on the same page. When I looked at that game last night, or parts thereof,
no one was on the same page.
Yeah, it seemed to me in the second half, Purdue's players were not on the same page.
No, they weren't.
And the further ahead Connecticut got, if you read body language as well as I, the further ahead Purdue got, the more sunken and the more slack Purdue showed.
Oh, easily.
Connecticut kept stretching the lead, and Purdue, I don't want to say Purdue gave up because they fought to the end. All right, don't get it twisted. But the lack of depth will make you give up, won't it?
Oh, easily, because it gets down to the point of I can't do everything myself, and if the team's abandoned me, screw it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened was the team flat out abandoned Edie the rest of the way.
We saw the same thing with Iowa on Sunday.
Yeah, we did.
Her team, when Caitlin Clark's teammates abandoned her, and South Carolina's not only their depth but their height took advantage of that.
That's the one knock Iowa had was they only had one real big in the starting 5, and the rest of them were all guards.
And that was that's Hannah Stuelke.
Yeah.
I won't be surprised if Lisa Bluter. Well, I know she'll address it.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm looking forward to seeing what Iowa does in the future, especially now that Clark is gone. Molly Davis, I believe, will be gone. Gabby Marshall, Kate Martin is for 5th year. But they're going to have a hard time replacing Caitlin Clark. Meanwhile, on the men's side for Connecticut, as we go to a break, we'll ask the question, are they headed toward a dynasty? We will break all that down, and then we'll have a deep dive into the Calipari move to Arkansas. And I have some thoughts about that. That's the Big Dog. I'm the Snowman. We're back in a flash.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids from the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze car.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to, I can beat up black people.
As he takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the 4 Horsemen of Peckham's. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back. That's the Dawg. I'm the Snowman. We're breaking down everything National Championship last night as Connecticut claimed their 6th National Championship. 6 titles since 1999 when they upset Duke in Tampa. And let's pose the question here and now, and I believe the answer to be a resounding yes. Is the Connecticut men's basketball team a dynasty?
Yes, plain and simple. The way they've been playing the last 6-7 years, it shows a dynasty. A dynasty, basically, you got to be able to show up for playoff games, show up for championship games, and then show up to take the big trophy home. UConn has done that season after season after season.
Both the men's and the women's team UConn are dynasties to me. And the UConn women's team, not to get too far off track, but the UConn women's team has done something incredible 6 times. That's an undefeated season. They
were lethal back in the 2010s.
Man, look, we haven't seen a men's undefeated season since 1976. And the women have done it 6 times. 6 times.
That says something.
But to this men's Connecticut basketball team, pardon me while I stand up and applaud, because nothing seemed to get to them. Their poise was incredible. And I love that. And you can say that about all the Connecticut teams, especially the ones coached by Jim Calhoun.
One word that can be described for both men's and women's for UConn: confident. Massively confident.
Oh, yeah.
And you need that this late in the season. You need that in these title games is confidence. If you go in hanging your head in a game, you're getting your tail kicked 29 ways from Sunday.
Yep.
Neither one of these teams showed the fact that they were going to be down in a game. Here we are.
Crazy. And I love it. I love the fact that now college basketball has a true dynasty to compete with. And I hear so many people saying, oh, you need parity in college basketball. No, you don't. You just need a chance to climb the mountain and then keep climbing it. Duke was doing that back in the 90s when they won
anybody
titles.
Coach K,
Dean Smith and Roy Williams at North Carolina had a dynasty going. Hell, Roy Williams at Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Look at college football. There's really no parity there.
No, and there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be.
If you're that good through the 4 years you've got players, take advantage of it.
Exactly.
In college sports, parity be damned, as far as I'm concerned.
Alan Cummings, I agree. Definitely the women's team. The men's team, I would say yes as well. Calhoun was amazing, and Hurley has brought them back to that level. Oh, yeah.
Easily.
Oh, yeah. You can't mess with that.
No, you can't.
It's like we said, Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski, Dean Smith. How about John Thompson?
Mm-hmm.
With those Georgetown lineups back in the day.
I'll throw another name out there, Rick Pitino.
Rick Pitino. Yeah. Rick Pitino and all he did at Kentucky. That's crazy. Thank you, Alan. Alan Cummings says, let's go, Snowman. Thank you very much. If y'all like what you see and you hear, hit that like and subscribe on the YouTube page. And also do me a favor, smack us with a cash app at Tallman Dr. K50. That helps me and that helps my family. We're talking all things Connecticut dynasty. And yes, I will use the word freely, dynasty. This is a dynasty they're building in Storrs, Connecticut. Anyone that thinks different, and Chris Dietz even said it on the show. No one gives Connecticut men's team any love and calls them a dynasty. Well, I plan to have Dietz on later this week, and we're going to discuss this. Well, I will. They're a dynasty, damn it.
Exactly. And the fact is, like I said, it's showing up consistently in the big games.
Mm-hmm.
And look at what UConn has done.
Man,
that's dynasty written all over it. I don't care who you are.
And it seems like UConn lately has had, like, if you want to classify them, I don't, but because they play, and they play at a very high level and they play at a very prestigious men's college basketball program. But it seems to a lot of people, especially the ones that think they know college basketball, and yes, I'm calling them out here, that Connecticut has a bunch of nobodies. Okay, well, let's use that against the people that say that. These bunch of nobodies won the championship in back-to-back years.
I'll take a bunch of nobodies over 2 or 3 starters with a bunch of nobodies behind them.
Exactly. Purdue, anyone? I'll take that in a minute. All right? I'll take the fact that my players play team ball. South Carolina, anyone? Dawn Staley? They play team ball. And that's that.
Exactly.
And that's that. Vashawn Jones joining us from North Carolina. He's in New Orleans. I beg your pardon. I disagree about Matt Painter. He's off big time, talking about being off the hot seat. Purdue is the most cursed and haunted college basketball program. They had great teams that couldn't get over the hump. Painter played with Big Dog Robinson. Yeah, I remember that. And lost in the Elite Eight. Painter deserves a lot of respect. He's got respect from me, but I still say he's on the hot seat. To keep getting that close, and yeah, you can say Purdue is cursed. You can say Purdue is cursed, but at the same time, and we'll talk about this next segment with John Calipari. At the same time, when you're brought in to bring championships to a program and you haven't done it yet, we got to talk.
Exactly.
But now I do agree with Vashawn that Matt Painter got Purdue to the national championship game and played them to within 2 points with about 2 minutes left in the first half. But it seems to me they stepped off the gas because they had Connecticut on the ropes last night.
They did. It's just the fact that they just let up off the throttle. And then you end up letting UConn pull away by 6 at the end of the half, and then they tack on 9 more while you can't do much with it.
Dan Hurley has really instilled the team into Connecticut. And I love every single minute of it. Alan Cummings, again, it takes a team. Team ball is generally the consistent factor in winning the national championship games. The great Kentucky and Duke teams that have won. Great teamwork. Bingo. Bingo.
And it's hard to have a cohesive unit when you only got one or two that think they know what they're doing and you try to run your offense through them.
Mm-hmm. North Carolina, anyone this past season? Better
And
yet, Kentucky, anyone in the first round of the tournament?
And look at what UConn did.
Back-to-back titles. Back-to-back titles.
Purdue needs to figure out something with Painter. There needs to be a long talk this offseason.
Yeah. Yeah, they have to. There has to be a long talk. And there has to be a recruiting process that will get them some players, that'll get them some help. Now, the question is, for Connecticut, can they get to San Antonio next year? I say they can.
Easily. They'll be going in favored yet again.
Alan, Vashawn, tell us where you're watching from, and we'll shout you out properly. Vashawn Jones, my good buddy, but UConn was the better team. They have been the only team this year that has been consistent all season long. That's why they won. Bingo. Because most of the teams in this tournament, save UConn and maybe Northwestern, playing with a team concept, period. And Northwestern ran into UConn in the second round, and UConn did what they were supposed to do. Vashawn is in New Orleans. Thank you, Vashawn. I thought I had that right.
I mean, I'm looking at what UConn did in the bracket right now.
Mm-hmm.
91-52 over the 16 seed Stetson.
Yep.
75-58 over Northwestern.
Mm-hmm.
82-52 over San Diego State. 77-52 over New Orleans. Over Illinois.
Over Illinois. Mm-hmm.
What does that say when they're putting up constant games with at least 15, 20-point differentials?
I believe this to be fact, because someone told me this morning before we hopped in the pre-show meeting. Connecticut won every game this year in the tournament by at least 13 points.
Doing the math in my head, Northwestern looks like 17.
17. They blew out Stetson. They beat Northwestern by 17. They won the national championship by 15.
They beat Illinois by 25. And they beat San Diego State by 30.
Every tournament game, they've won by at least 13 points. What does that tell you?
That's lethal. Straight out lethal.
Very much so. But I'll ask the question again. I want to light up the chat as well. Can Connecticut get to New Orleans next year? I say yes.
Easily.
I say yes.
It'll be an easy road.
Mm-hmm.
It will be an easy road for them. I mean, as long as everyone's returning next season, and they should be, I see it being an easy road. Even if everyone doesn't return, UConn's always had a great recruiting class.
Bingo. You just stole the thought in my head that I was going to mention. UConn has always had a wonderful recruiting class. And now people want to link Dan Hurley leaving Connecticut for the University of Kentucky. Not going to happen.
No.
Not going to happen. I don't see Hurley leaving these kids after back-to-back national championships and not taking a shot at the three-peat.
Oh, he wants the three-peat. He wants that.
Yeah, he does.
And now it's to be expected in UConn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, look what the women's team did in the 2010s. Look at the run they went on. UConn is used to having 3-4 titles in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's time to bring the third one for the men's side.
It is. It is. And I think they can get it done. What do
Oh,
y'all think? Let us know down below. And if you can, please make a contribution to $Tallman Dr. K50 via the Cash App. It'll help me and it'll help my family. When we come back, John Calipari is off to Arkansas. What's that mean for them? What does it mean for Kentucky? We'll discuss it all when y'all get back.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Peckham's. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying. But this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe. Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Coming up on Thursday, the Lyle Files returns, and we got a lot to catch up on. That'll be hour 2 of Thursday's show. And later today, Diary of a Mad Snowman, episode 7. What's on the snowman's mind? You'll have to tune in to YouTube to find out. And on April 15th, a week from Monday, this coming Monday, we will have live coverage of the WNBA draft. I'm so thrilled to bring that to you guys. Also, want to advertise with us? Drop an email to snowmanmultimedia@gmail.com. That is snowmanmultimedia@gmail.com, or call 317-762-8567. That's 317-762-8567. All right. John Calipari is headed to Arkansas.
Oh, boy.
Oh, brother. What does this mean for Kentucky going forward and Arkansas, especially now in the NIL era?
Well, Arkansas hasn't exactly had the best recruiting class in the last half a dozen years or so.
Not since Nolan Richardson. And we all know what Nolan Richardson put up.
Yeah, Calipari ain't going to have a whole lot of help his first couple of years anyway. But Arkansas, I think, might be doing a little bit better come tournament time, but it also depends on who they end up playing and how Calipari ends up coaching that team, because his style in Kentucky is not going to fly in Arkansas.
Nope. And what I don't like about this is that he will continue the one and done culture all throughout the SEC.
Oh, easily.
Because he started this ish when he got to Kentucky.
Yeah.
The one
and now look at what happens.
Done era. The one and done era.
Yeah, look what's going to happen now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to end up floating around longer and longer. I mean, Calipari would have been better off staying in Kentucky, to be honest, instead of trying to spread his bull down south.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unfortunately, Arkansas is going to get a load of it, and it's.
They gave him a 5-year deal. I wouldn't be surprised if he lasts only 3.
I'd give him 2.
Yep. Because now you bring in a coach that has won a national championship. That was 2012, and that was, of course, led by Anthony Davis, Mr. Glass himself. We got some NBA talk coming later. I'm going to flip one of the segments here.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, you just said it. It was 2012.
Yep. In New
What
Orleans.
has he done what has he done the last 12 years?
Not a damn thing.
Okay, so why would Arkansas bring in somebody who hasn't done jack in 12 years?
I guess they wanted the name.
And that's all they're getting is the name recognition. Oh, hey, we got a national championship winning head coach. Come down and play for us. Yeah, when was the last time he won the title? 2012. What have you guys done recently?
Nothing.
And that's how. And that's what's going to hurt
Oakland.
That's what's going to hurt them in the recruiting class is they haven't done jack.
Nope.
And they're bringing in a coach who hasn't done jack.
There's something that needs to be reestablished at Arkansas because everybody remembers Nolan Richardson and the 40 Minutes of Hell.
Yep.
Those are some of the most exciting Arkansas teams, and they won it all in 1994 in Charlotte. Exactly. But now you have basically with all these coaches, you have a what have you done for me lately attitude. And Arkansas is taking a tremendous risk on John Calipari.
Yeah.
Especially in the era of not only the one and dones, but also the NIL era.
And the NIL is what's going to hurt Arkansas worse.
Yep. It's going to hurt the SEC in multiple sports.
I mean, we all know the biggest names that come out of the NIL era. We don't need to discuss all that bull.
Nope.
But the fact of the matter is, this era is what's going to hurt these other teams that are struggling.
Yep. The big boys keep getting paid, and the small boys keep struggling.
Exactly. And Arkansas has been considered a little brother in the SEC for the longest time.
To Kentucky.
I mean,
in the regular season, Kentucky has ruled the SEC.
I mean, not just in basketball. I mean, look at what they do in football. They're the little brother to Georgia. They're the little brother to Alabama.
Yes, exactly. And again, with the NIL era now in full bloom.
Along with the transfer portal.
Yep, the transfer portal ain't going anywhere. The NIL era is definitely not going anywhere. You know, the kids would be smart to get their education and get paid for it and stay in one place. I think the NIL sidetrack here is an incentive. I believe that you can work it as an incentive to get kids to stay in school, to get the student athletes to stay in one place. Will they? We don't know.
I mean, I haven't heard of too many players going from NIL through the transfer, but yet again, the NIL is relatively fresh, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out.
Yeah.
But if this is a case of, again, if the players are smart.
If they're smart and they take Arkansas, for example, now with John Calipari, he could capitalize on this seriously.
Yes.
And have success at Arkansas as a basketball coach and as a leader by getting these students to stay put, to believe in the Arkansas Razorbacks, and build a small dynasty there. Because remember, Nolan Richardson was the University of Arkansas. Of course, he had Todd Day and Lee Mayberry and Oliver Miller back in the day, if you all remember the 90s Arkansas teams.
The ones that would actually compete for a national championship?
Well, Arkansas won a national championship in 94. They lost to UCLA in 1995. And you know, I got to shout out the person who started this way back in 1995. Look up the name Ed O'Bannon. Look up the name Ed O'Bannon because he was the first to start yelling aloud about this. Now that the kids are getting paid and getting their NIL deals with video games and everything like that, I think, and this is the old school me thinking, that they would stay put, get your education in one place, and you get your NIL deals with no problem. Even if you don't make it to the next level, you got money stashed away from the NIL deals.
Oh, and there's plenty of that going around. Believe me, there's social
yeah.
media, the social media influencers who currently have $3 or $4 million deals. LSU Gymnastics, I'm looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
It's doable if you market it right. But the thing is, it's got to be a combination between the school and the player.
Women's basketball, anyone?
Right.
Women's basketball, anyone? Because I will say this again. Women's basketball, even though there was a record Sunday afternoon of watching the Women's National Championship, why is it played on Sunday afternoon and not Sunday evening? Well, this year I can kind of understand why, because they schedule these events in advance. And the Women's National Championship basically led everybody into night 2 of WrestleMania.
Yeah, if it wasn't that, it was NASCAR in Martinsville or a couple of the other weaker NBA games that happened.
Weaker being the operative word.
Or your local team or your local baseball team having the matinee game.
I mean, why can't they schedule those games in the evening? What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just the fact that, again, and this is basically shoving a foot in the network's ass. A, look who's broadcasting it.
Yeah.
And
true.
B, do they really want to try to go head to head against the late night baseball game or the late night NBA game?
No, they don't. And that's a good point. That's a good point. Here's another point. The women's Final Four should be held in stadiums, just like the men.
I could see that.
That should have been done a long time ago. Because I just had the attendance in front of me. You know what last night attendance was at State Farm Stadium? 74,723. You know how much money the NCAA is going to make off of that?
About as much as WrestleMania Night 2 was, with over 72,000 people in the link.
74,000. You can easily do that for women's basketball. But back to Arkansas and Bud Walton Arena, which is now seeing more sellout crowds. The influence of John Calipari is going to be there. True. Okay?
Easily.
The influence is going to be there. My question is his influence going to be enough to get Arkansas over the hump? And a backup question, is Calipari's influence, considering the influence he had at Kentucky, going to be enough to not only get them over the hump, but get them a consistent top 5 recruiting class? Not just in the SEC either.
Honestly, I don't see them getting consistent recruiting class, at least this early. Maybe if they can perform and get back into the tournament and actually perform in the tournament.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't see it, because it's always going to be, why play in Arkansas when you can play in Alabama or play in Georgia or play in Florida? No one wants to travel to the middle of the country to play any sport, really, unless they absolutely have to. And that's the problem with the recruiting class, is there's always going to be the sexier option, and I have to put it that way, of going to the Bulldogs or going to the Gators or going to the Tigers. That's just how it's going to be.
It is. And last night's national championship, as we talked about last segment, has established Connecticut as a dynasty. Calipari going to Arkansas, and we found that out Sunday night. So how about the kids that may want to play for a national champion in Dan Hurley? Would he take we got to talk about this since Connecticut won the national championship. Would he take a shot at some of the kids from down south and intercept what Calipari is doing recruiting wise? Would he take an early shot at them?
I'm sure he probably would, but I can guarantee you he's also going to focus in this area quite a bit as well, because you got to figure a school like UConn, yes, you're going to have reach across the country, but your hay is going to be made in the Northeast.
Yeah, and he's the king of the Northeast right now.
Oh, easily.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely easily. And that's the same thing with Gino on the women's side. UConn's going to be the king. UConn's going to be the king and queen of the Northeast for recruiting,
and that's also going to be true for the women's side with Dawn Staley.
Yeah,
perfect season at South Carolina.
So you're going to have the option of, if you don't want to play in UConn, you got the option of South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone's going to have their favorite schools they want to go to. That's going to be a given. But at the end of the day, the bigger plays are going to be made by those that finished in the top 8 in the NCAA brackets.
True. That means Lisa Bluter is going to get some hay.
Oh yeah, easily.
Lisa Bluter is going to get some hay. Southern California is going to get some hay because they made the Elite 8. Kim Mulkey and LSU are going to reload.
UCLA, so you're going to have that battle between between USC and UCLA is going to wage for a while.
It is, because both of them made the Elite 8.
Oh, easily. So
both teams from the Pac-10 made the Elite 8. Yikes!
Those recruiting classes are going to be huge down there.
Mm-hmm. Especially now with stars established at each of the schools that we mentioned.
And again, dealing with why they don't schedule the women's title game at night. The MLB late game was Astros Rangers. The NBA late games was Jazz Warriors and Timberwolves Lakers.
And the Timberwolves beat the Lakers, thank God.
Take that, you bronze sexual idiots.
We got some time. We'll close this hour out with a dive into the NBA and why the Golden State Warriors must beat the Los Angeles Lakers tonight at the new Forum. I can't say crypto.com, Marina. It just doesn't seem right to me.
No, it doesn't.
Snowman, it really doesn't. Snowman and the Dawg back in the flash.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze car.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crown they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to, I can beat up black people.
As he takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Man alive, I'm straightening up my schedule. This portion is brought to you by BetUS.com. BetUS.com, where the game begins. Speaking of games, there are two important ones on the docket tonight. One I may strap on the headset for. And it's not Golden State and the Lakers because it's too late of a start, and I have to drive my daughter to work. That's a 10 p.m. start in Los Angeles. The one I may do is the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks.
Ooh,
that's a 7:30 tip,
and that's for supremacy in the East.
That's in Milwaukee.
Oh, that's gonna be rough for Boston.
No, it ain't. I don't think so. I don't think so.
You think they're going to be able to hold down Giannis and Dame?
Yep.
All right, fill me in on what you're thinking.
Doc Rivers has held them down already.
True. Glad he got out of Boston when he did.
Doc Rivers has held them down already. He's going to cost Milwaukee a second round appearance. Yeah, I said it, and I mean it. He's going to cost Milwaukee, I'm talking about Doc Rivers, a second round appearance. Right now, the top 10, screw the top 10, top 6 in the East from 6-1, Indiana, Cleveland, New York, Orlando, Milwaukee, and Boston. Milwaukee and Boston have clinched a playoff berth, and
currently Boston's sitting 15 games up ahead of Milwaukee.
Yep. Yeah, I think they've clinched the top seed in the East.
I think they've probably clinched the top seed overall.
I believe they have.
I mean, come on here.
The Bulls and the Hawks have both clinched the play-in berth. And I'm happy for the Bulls because they started off sad this year. But I've been following them, and they've been getting better, and they've been winning some big games.
Now, you just mentioned it a second ago. I'm looking over the standings right now, and between Milwaukee and Indiana, there's only a 2.5 game spread.
Mm-hmm. With 3 to play.
This could get quite interesting at the end of the season.
Vashawn Jones from New Orleans. The Bucks management should be fired right now for the foolishness they have pulled this year. Agreed. Because how the hell are you gonna fire Adrian Griffin when they were 11 games above 500, and then you bring in Doc Rivers? What the hell was that?
I have no idea.
Me neither. Take a look at the Western Conference, which is where my interest lies. 6-1, Phoenix, Dallas, the Clippers, God help me, Oklahoma City, Denver, and Minnesota. Oklahoma City, Denver, and Minnesota have all clinched playoff berths. No one saw Oklahoma City at a number 3 spot. Lord knows I didn't. The battle is going to be at the bottom with the Lakers and the Warriors at 9 and 10.
Yeah, the Lakers with a 1.5 game edge, but you also got to look at Sacramento, who's a half a game ahead of LA.
Mm-hmm. This is why Golden State, who has clinched the play-in berth, Golden State needs to win tonight in Los Angeles for two reasons. One, to show the Lakers they can still compete with them. And two, just to shut Laker fans up. Sidney Clinkscales joins us. This is Giannis got Griffin fired. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Giannis has turned into a little diva since he won his championship. Sydney, where are you watching from? We'll shout you out properly. Sick Diggy visiting us from Norway. Victor Locke joining us. I think he's in the office this week. I think he told me until Wednesday, so we'll have him back Wednesday. Another play-in situation for Braun. Dear God. Sidney Clinks has joined us from Nashville. Sweet. So we've hit that belt. I love it.
We'll take the love out of Music City.
Absolutely. But like I said, the two reasons that Golden State needs to win tonight in Los Angeles to show that they could compete with the Lakers and kick their ass and put all the fear in them that the Warriors could jump them for the 9 seed.
Yeah, and if they jump them for a 9 seed, you're looking either playing New Orleans or Sacramento.
And they've beaten both of them. Matter of fact, all the teams in the play-in round they have beaten. They have beaten all the teams. The Pelicans, Kings, and the Lakers, they've kicked all their asses. At least one game this year they've won against those three teams.
Now, the interesting thing is that I'm looking at is actually the logjam with Phoenix, New Orleans, and Sacramento. And if we were going to throw LA in there, we could as well, because there's 3 games left, and it's a game and a half spread.
Man, if Golden State could run the table and they all lose.
That would be a jump for Golden State.
I don't expect it to happen, because just like last year, the inconsistency of the Warriors gets to me. But, and that's a mighty big but, what if Phoenix, New Orleans, Sacramento, and the Fakers lose all their games and Golden State runs the table and leaps into that 6th spot? That would be a hell of a leap, wouldn't it?
It would be. I think they might end up tied with either New Orleans or Phoenix.
Yeah.
And then obviously you'd be looking at the divisional record. I think the best they could possibly do is a 7 seed. So they might still be in the play-in based off divisional record.
Yeah. Golden State comes in tonight averaging 117, giving up 115. Lakers averaging 118, giving up 117. I'm looking at these scoring averages, even of the teams that have been eliminated: Houston, Utah, Memphis, Portland, and San Antonio. Memphis and Portland at 106 per game. I don't think there's a team in the NBA right now that's not averaging over 110, over 100 points.
There isn't. The lowest one I'm looking at right now is Memphis at 105.9. And then you got to look at Charlotte at 106.4. I mean, I haven't seen numbers like this, period, in the NBA in a very long time.
I haven't seen numbers like this since I started watching in 1980. I haven't seen numbers like this since 1980. Now, I thought I'd never see numbers like this again.
I mean, you look at the league leaders right now, the 2 teams in the East that clinch with Boston and Milwaukee. Boston getting 121 a game, Milwaukee 120, but they're both giving up drastically less.
Yeah. Celtics giving up 109 and Milwaukee 116.
Yeah, that says something.
It does. All right, we're at halftime, and I still got to get Wes Pruitt on the line. We're going to do a deeper dive into Calipari when we come back, and we're probably going to talk some more. NBA stuff. But
yeah, because Victor actually just posed a damn good question in the chat. It's a tall order for Golden State to end up trying to jump everybody in the West. How do they do it?
They got to be consistent, and they got to score some points. But I like I said, that's a big if.
Big if.
Everybody else was to lose their games and Golden State was to win out. They would jump everybody at least into the 7 seed. So that's like you said, they'd still be in the play-in because they did lose the season series to Phoenix.
Right.
Damn it. Second hour, I beg your pardon. Second half. I can't think today. Second hour after this.
Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
If you talk, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
He was only 58 years old when he passed away. That outcome could have been different.
Colorado happens to be one of the worst states for radon levels.
It's in our ground, and it seeps up.
The more you breathe radon, the more chance you have of DNA being hit and the cell mutated. The EPA estimates 22,000 lung cancer deaths a year caused by radon.
We all make choices. When it comes to alcohol, kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun.
Hey, have a seat for a second. Remind me about that party again?
Alex is just...
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. They want guidance and honest answers to their questions. And it makes a difference when the message is consistent and part of everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
You wonder why I got this big grin on my face? My daughter called me.
Okay, what's going on?
My daughter Cheyenne. Can I come over? Do you have to ask? And
Right.
she greets me with, "Do your job, Pop."
Speaking
And
of
then
which,
she asked a very good question. She said, "I'm coming. I want to come over. Are you hungry?" Hell yeah, I'm hungry.
I'm glad I had a big breakfast before doing the show.
So, and I got to get back to that habit. So, if y'all see a pretty redhead peek in here, that would be my daughter Cheyenne. We're in the second hour of Snowman in the Morning. Wrong way. That's the dog. I'm the snowman. And you know, let me just say this. I'm gonna get Wes Pruitt on here in a moment.
Okay.
But I will tease something we're going to take a deeper dive with. And that's if Kentucky is smart, and I got this suggestion from Maggie and Perloff because my morning started early on Monday. Well, my morning started early all the time.
True.
Except when I hit that snooze button. Kentucky needs to place a call to Dawn Staley.
I could see that.
Because if you want to get back into winning, there's your key right there. She's the best coach, period.
Yep.
Besides Don Hurley.
True.
So this needs to happen.
It does. And that's the only way Kentucky's going to have a threat to do anything in the foreseeable future is they need to be able to start thinking about who they're going to recruit and how they're going to recruit them.
And don't start with the labels.
No.
Oh my God, a woman's going to coach a men's team. She's the best damn coach in college basketball. She and Dan Hurley. And not just because they're national champions either. They're champions of dynasties.
No one threw a fit when Gino was coaching the UConn women's team.
No. So why should anyone throw a fit if Dawn Staley gets a phone call from the University of Kentucky for men's basketball?
Oh, the traditionalists are going to get a hair across their ass about that one.
If they haven't already.
Oh, I guarantee you they have.
If they haven't already.
They have.
Cameron is a Giants, Mets, Rangers, and Laker fan, and we tore up the Lakers last segment. He says, "Hi, Snowman. It was very good for my UConn Huskies to win the national championship again." Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. But I'll say it again. They need to place a call to Dawn Staley. And I started thinking about what Maggie Grace said on Maggie and Perloff on CBS Radio. Shout out to them. When she simply said she's the best coach in college basketball and then coupled it with don't say, oh, this is the first woman to coach men's basketball or this could be bad for men's or any of that stuff. No. Dawn Staley is a damn good coach. Look at her record. And you know where all this started recently? Hey, Cameron, where are you listening from? You know where all this started recently? I'll give you a Hall of Famer's name. Becky Hammon.
Ooh.
Becky Hammon was, and I think in many cases still is, in line to take over for Greg Popovich whenever he decides to hang up the whistle.
Oh, Pop's going to take a long-ass time to do that.
I know.
Can't say I blame him, though.
Nor can I. And he's coaching probably one of the most dynamic raw talents to come into the NBA in Victor Wembanyama.
Wemby with a deep three, but can also block a shot inside.
I saw him play in person, and Wemby made a liar out of me. All right.
That says a lot.
Because my initial thought was Wemby is a stick. My initial thought, well, Wemby is a stick. And then Bill Schoenig called me and he said, "You want to work a Spurs game with me?" I said, "I'm close to Indiana and Chicago and also Charlotte." He'd messaged me and said, "You're on the list for Indiana." Hell yeah. Drove my crazy ass to Indianapolis. But back on task here. Dawn Staley, I believe, should they place a call to her, would turn that program around.
Easily.
I believe he would flip that program. I believe she would flip that program around. And I'm going to say this also, undo the damage that Calipari has done with the one and dones.
Yeah, and that's a lot of damage in Kentucky.
Especially the last 12 years, as you mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
The last 12 years have been a nightmare for Kentucky. Great regular
Yep.
season. Get to the tournament. Get a high seed. Bounced out.
And that's just what they've done since winning the championship.
Since winning the championship in New Orleans in 2012, that's the cycle of Kentucky basketball. I want to know what you guys think in the chat. Should Kentucky's athletic director place a call to Dawn Staley? I had to think about that. Like I said, when I heard Maggie Perloff spit this out and not mention the names that we mentioned yesterday on the show, now I'm thinking, when she said not Sean Miller, not Dan Hurley, and I'm like, wait a minute, where is she going with this? And then she says Dawn Staley. And immediately my brain started thinking about it. But here's a question no, I'm not afraid to ask this. Do you think the players would follow her regimen and her rules? I believe so.
Easily, because they want to get back to they want to, everybody's goal is to get to the championship game. This would be the coach to take you there. You got to do what you got to do.
And you have to nail it down in the classroom. You're a student first before you're an athlete. And you've got to nail it down in the classroom. There was when I went to high school, there was a simple rule. You don't pass, you don't play.
Same applied when I was playing.
And this is a guy that played baseball. All right. I gave baseball a clean shot. Okay. Sick Diggy from Norway. I'll counter by asking, would Dawn Staley even entertain leaving South Carolina for Kentucky? Damn good question.
I don't know.
I think she would entertain the idea.
The only way I think she would entertain it is if they throw a figure at her that South Carolina couldn't match.
Then I come back with, I believe South Carolina would match it, especially with all they're getting after winning the national championship and an undefeated season.
So then the question would stand, does she leave South Carolina?
That's the question that needs answered. That's the question that needs answered. But the other question is there going to be a lot of uproar about her name being thrown into the hat for the Kentucky coaching job?
Oh, we all know there's going to be an uproar with her name getting thrown in the hat for Kentucky. We know this.
If there's not one now.
Let me just look out the window and see if there's any fires burning down the road. Let me get the binoculars out. Hang on a second. Nope, we're good. We're good for now. I can't see any smoke.
We're good.
Give it time. They'll get the pitchforks out.
Oh my gosh.
But in reality, yeah, there will be an uproar, and it's going to come from the traditionalists.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem is Kentucky is too rich in tradition to say, hey, look, if we need to pivot and go this direction, do we actually go in this direction?
Are they afraid to get into the 21st century? Where
yes.
you hire the best person for the job?
Yes. I truly believe Kentucky is actually scared to do it because of how steeped in tradition they are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's going to hurt them in the long haul.
I think it's going to hurt a lot of teams in the long haul, especially all the teams in the SEC.
Oh, easily.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's our question of the day. Should Dawn Staley, should she get a call from Kentucky, entertain coaching the University of Kentucky men's basketball team? If she does get that call, and I have a sneaking feeling she will. I have a sneaking feeling she will get that call. Does she take it?
I'll do one better. Is the phone call legitimate or just for show?
Yeah. Yeah. Because if it's legitimate, then that call would be coupled with a figure.
Exactly. If it's just for show, just to say, hey, look, let's get everybody off our ass, and we'll say we made the phone call. What does that say down the road?
See, I don't want it to be just a show. I don't want it to be show. I want it to be a legitimate call. And I'll say it again. And I've been around recruiting. I covered Chicago State for many years. I've seen it done. If you're going to place a call to one of the best coaches in the land, man or a woman, you couple it with a figure.
Easily, you have to.
You couple that with a figure.
You better go in with a number clean in your head and expect there to be a counteroffer almost immediately on that call.
Mm-hmm. You better go in with an offer sheet. You better couple it with a figure and have an offer sheet ready.
And then expect there to be counteroffers made right off the bat.
Yes.
Because we all know South Carolina is going to be like, oh, you guys are going to do this? Hang on. Back the truck up.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see what happens this offseason.
Mm-hmm. It will be very interesting. But that's our question of the day. Should Dawn Staley get the call from Kentucky? Does she leave her perch in South Carolina to take the call? That's our question of the day. My glucose meter is going crazy because I'm drinking a lot of coffee. Thankfully, I got a gallon of water over here that I'm putting down also. Let's take a break. When y'all get back, old Snowman has a take for the first time in a while. What's it concern? You'll have to wait. You'll find out when y'all get back.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying, but this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe. Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister? How do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back. 3 hours of sports talk. And when we make the move to 8 or 9 a.m. in the morning, y'all better be ready because we're going to compete and defeat the big boys. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm game.
Now, as far as the podcast version of this goes, let me explain what I have been doing. I'll borrow my wife's phrase. I've been hemming and hawing about how to do it, what to put up. Should I do segments? Should I do the entire show? I've consulted with Phil Better, a podcast guru and a very good friend of mine. I've consulted with the Dawg. I've consulted with Cole Johnson. And I'm taking all of their ideas. I'm going to do both. Beginning with yesterday's show, I'm going to put the full show up there, but switch the ads out. It's going to require me to do some editing. And I'm going to put the segments up as well. I'm going to test it out and see how it goes for about 90 days and see what you guys consume. Everything will be available at 6 o'clock today, including the newest episode of Diary of a Mad Snowman, which I'll do on YouTube at 4. And it's gonna be fun. I got a very good episode coming up of that today. That's at 4 o'clock. Now, I am going to do something I haven't done in a while.
Oh boy.
There goes my meter again. See, I say I'm gonna do something I haven't done in a while, and my meter goes crazy.
It knows something's about to hit.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
All right, Snowman, lay it on us.
I'll keep the dog in frame for this. Dear NCAA, it's time for you to upgrade women's basketball and its coverage.
Yep.
Because 18.7 million people watched the Women's National Championship. Let me repeat that number. 18.7 million people. At peak time, it was at 24 million.
Yeah, they threw up some good numbers.
And even though there was a bigger attendance at the men's game, the viewers that watched the women's championship game was off the charts. Hell, I'm still getting viewers from the South Carolina game. At peak, 24 million viewers. The most watched basketball game, men's or women's, college or pro, since the 2019 men's championship game, which averaged 19.63 million viewers. And that was Virginia and Texas Tech. And Virginia won it on a miracle. Why can't you do the same for the women's and give them some significant upgrades? The colleges are doing their best to upgrade their facilities and everything. And this all came to light after 2021 in Indianapolis, Indiana. And that debacle.
Debacle's the right word for that.
It's time for y'all to come correct and show the women the same love that you show the men in terms of where they play for a national championship. Because you got the viewers. Give me this camera. You got the viewers. Okay? You got the fans. They're right there. Fix the coverage. Okay? Take it away from that 4-letter network and make it accessible to fans. If you make it accessible to more fans, instead of keeping it behind a doggone paywall, you know how many more fans would tune in? Do you know how many more fans would tune in if you made it more accessible for them? And I know it takes $1 away from the cable company, and I know it takes $1 away from the network that's broadcasting the games, but you want to have more fans tuning in, right? You would think so, right?
Yeah, you would.
Then show the women the same love that you show the men. And take the men's game off cable, for God's sakes. Will you please? You know why people didn't watch men's national championship last night? Because a lot of people didn't have TBS or TNT. You're in the age and the era of cord cutters, which means it would be smart for you to make the games available for the fans that don't watch cable, or pay one small price for a streaming fee.
Wait, they didn't have the national championship game on CBS?
No. Second straight year that didn't happen.
What is wrong with these people?
I don't know.
I grew up watching the championship games on CBS. It was perfect. A lot of Jim Nance's best calls were when the game was on CBS.
On CBS.
Jeez Louise.
I don't get it.
Neither do I.
NCAA, fix this. Please. You want more fans to watch the game that can't make it to the game? Make it more accessible for them.
At least put it on your website.
For now, and not behind a paywall either.
Facts.
Give them 10 minutes of access, and then your free trial has ended.
Screw that.
For now, that's Snowman's take. What's yours?
There's just way too much wrong with the NCAA. I mean, I get Turner Broadcasting doing all this stuff and spreading out the networks, but come on. Tradition has it that the championship game is on CBS. You wouldn't move the Masters to TNT or TBS.
No, but that four-letter network has swooped in.
Yeah, they took the first 2 rounds.
And I remember watching the Masters coverage late night on CBS.
I know, right after Letterman.
Mm-hmm.
Look what's happened now.
It's the age of the cost cutters, the cord cutters, I beg your pardon. And it's the age of streaming.
It is.
It's the age of streaming. Go with the times, will you? In a way they have. In a way they have, but in a way they haven't. The way that they have is with the men. The way that they haven't is with the women.
True.
The way that they have is with the men. The way that they haven't is with the women. I'll take it back. Last year, the game was on CBS. 23.
Okay, so
22, it was on TBS, TNT, and True TV.
Okay, so 2 of the last 3 years, they haven't had it on CBS.
Well, 21, it was on CBS. I just hate that it's spread out.
I mean, I get because of the fact of how much coverage there is. I mean, you can't have one network covering every single game. And there's people who throw these big parties for the brackets.
Mm-hmm.
But when it starts dwindling down to the 16 or to the 8, leave it on one network.
That would be too much like right, wouldn't it?
Look at what they did with the women's game. Once it got down to the smaller side of the bracket, granted, it was ESPN, but it was either ESPN or ABC covering it all day long.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that. But
Nothing
yet again,
wrong with that at all.
Yet again, 2 words that don't exist when it comes to networks and broadcasting: common sense.
If common sense were common.
It wouldn't exactly be sense because it'd be dollar general knowledge.
Dear God. Dear Lord.
And on that note,
yeah, I need a breather. My daughter's on the way with lunch, so she's probably going to peek her head in here. I might just bring her on.
Okay.
I just might bring Cheyenne on just to have her see the craziness that we do. Let's take a break. When y'all get back, we're going to switch gears and talk some football. Did I plan this? No. Am I going to have fun with it? Yup. Don't I always?
Yup.
Back in a flash.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Peckham's. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying, but this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe. Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back. Snowman and the Dawg here with you on Snowman in the Morning. Don't forget, Monday, live coverage of the WNBA draft, April 15th. We will kick off our party at 7 p.m. and take you through the first round. 4 p.m. today, episode 7 of Diary of a Mad Snowman. And who knows, you may see my daughter with me. That is later today. And the Lyle Files return on Thursday, and there's a lot to catch up on. Want to help us out? Spare the Snowman a coffee and some lunch money and some money to help my family with a cash app to Tallman Dr. K50. All right, I sent this story to Shane last night, and it reads as follows, according to ESPN. The National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics, the governing body for mostly small colleges, announced a policy Monday that all but bans all transgender athletes from competing in women's sports. The NAIA Council of Presidents approved the policy in a 20-0 vote. The NAIA, which oversees some 83,000 athletes at schools across the country, is believed to be the first college sports organization to take such a step. According to the transgender participation policy, all athletes may participate in NAIA-sponsored male sports, but only athletes whose biological sex assigned at birth is female and who have not begun hormone therapy will be allowed to participate in women's sports. Yeesh.
There's going to be lawsuits galore with this one.
If they haven't started already.
Oh, I guarantee you they probably have. We just haven't heard about it yet. Woof.
And AIA president and CEO Jim Carr said in an interview with the Associated Press he understands the policy will generate controversy, that it was deemed best for member schools for competitive reasons. Carr said, quote, "We know there are a lot of opinions and a lot of people have very emotional reaction to this, and we want to be respectful of all that. But we feel like our primary responsibility is fairness in competition. So we are following that path. And we've tried as best as we could to allow some participation for by all," close quote. This is going to get messy.
Oh, that's not the word for it, man. I can't say
it's going to get messy.
I can't say what I want to say about it, but it's a 2-letter initial, and the first one's a C.
Uh-huh. This is going to get messy. I'm warning everybody right now. This is going to get messy. And I'm going to read this whole story on my own. And my homework assignment on Thursday is to lead the show off with a snowman's take about this.
I can guarantee you it's going to be one of the more controversial subjects we touch around here.
Mm-hmm.
But screw it. No one else will do it.
Exactly. Sick Diggy from Norway. The whole trans athletes issue has been made a hot button issue in the political arena. You're damn right it has.
That's the unfortunate thing.
That's why politics has been flipped on its head.
Again, this is something that I've discussed with friends throughout everything.
Mm-hmm.
Politics and sports don't need to mix. Unfortunately, they do.
Thank you for saying that.
I'm just saying.
Politics and sports never got along. Ever. When I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, we never mixed politics with sports. Sports was sports and politics was politics. And if you're like me, you leave one of them alone. And guess which one I left alone?
Same one I left alone because my brother was a political one in the family.
I'll say it again. You leave one of them alone. Guess which one we left alone?
But unfortunately, we get dragged into the political arena because, unfortunately, everything is intertwined.
Not for me, it ain't.
Look at the way the world's been working. And we just got the base of it with this one right here.
Politics and sports are intertwined for a lot of people. Not for my crazy ass.
Well, we're the smart ones. We know how to compartmentalize it.
Yep. Not for my crazy ass.
All the other networks are going to make it a political problem. We don't give a crap.
No. We don't talk politics here.
No, screw that.
We talk sports. We mix in a little food talk. We mix in some video games. And then we put a show together to entertain you guys. Politics do not belong here.
No.
But now you got this. You got this doggone thing.
And it's gonna be a muddy show on that one.
Listen, Jim Carr, you better have your wallet ready. More to the point, you better have your lawyers ready. And you better have a microphone in front of you.
Somebody's checkbook is about to get a little bit lighter.
Uh-huh. Somebody's checkbook is about to get a lot lighter.
Oh, I'm telling you.
That's why I hate this ish.
I know.
That's why I hate this.
Yeah, Sick Diggy has got a point. Sports are used in certain countries to project soft power of some.
Mm-hmm.
Look at FIFA. Look at the Olympics. Look at the Rugby World Series.
Yep. Summer and Winter Olympics.
I mean, yeah, I get that point, but at the same token, why use politics to corrupt something as beautiful as sports? The only voting that should matter is during All-Star games or Hall of Fames.
Or most valuable players.
Exactly. The awards at the end of the season.
Or last night, most outstanding players.
Exactly. When you hand out the flowers, that's when you need to vote. Besides that, screw it.
You know, Victor told the story of when we went to Soldier Field. And they were handing us ballots for the most outstanding player of the game before the game even began. We're like, what? You're doing this now? Why? Oh, and let me give a shout to Camila Cardoso, who was named most outstanding player in the women's championship on Sunday.
That was well deserved for her.
Indeed. Indeed it was. Oh boy, the NAIA has just thrown themselves into a fire they ain't getting out of in a while.
Nope. Break out.
They're not getting out of this fire, not for a while.
Break out the barbecue sauce because it's roasting season.
Mm-hmm. It is. But how does Jim Carr and the NAIA play this? How do they play?
Very carefully.
Mm-hmm.
The old saying of walking on eggshells doesn't apply here. You're walking on broken glass.
Yeah. With a lot of points ready to jab into your foot.
Y'all better take a page out of John McClane and wrap them feet up.
John McClane, Die Hard. Oh, man. One of the greatest movies I ever watched.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Yeah, we know the rest.
Yep.
We know the rest.
And right now, there's a lot of the rest going on looking through this BS.
Indeed. Which frightens the daylights out of me.
I know, right?
That politics and sports are going to get even more intertwined.
Unfortunately. What's crazy is this wouldn't have been a problem 25, 30 years ago because it wouldn't have even been a topic.
Right.
It's just the evolution of the world, man.
Or evolution. Jeez.
I'm just saying.
I know. Forgive my next statement, and I know you're going to get a laugh out of this, but evolution, my ass.
You're not wrong, but still. Trust me, you're not wrong.
Imagine what rulings they'll have for intersex athletes. True.
It's going to be.
This is a can of worms they should never have kicked open.
Yeah, now unfortunately, they're thinking they're going to go fishing with them.
Oh, brother. Who remembers South Africa's Caster Semenya versus... Yeah, I remember that. What a controversy that was. Good grief.
I see this being a headline topic for years to come.
And it's only the tip of the iceberg.
At least we're smart enough to realize that we're heading into it and we ain't going to go Titanic on it.
Yeah, we don't have blinders on either.
Exactly.
Saw this coming from a mile away. Jeez Louise. All right, a break and we got to laugh.
Yep.
Back after this.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids from the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Peckham's. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying, but this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe. Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
We know there are a lot of podcast consumers, and we hope that you start consuming this one beginning today, as yesterday's and today's episode will be uploaded and distributed. You can pick it up on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, and many other audio outlets. And you can pick up the video podcast of this on YouTube. So subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. How about a Cash App donation to help the Snow family as we are getting everything back together here. Okay. I said it was time for us to laugh. I'm gonna open an old wound just for this final segment of this hour, and then we'll get back on track. Okay? So I've been paying attention to some football news. In particular, when it comes to my San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
In a sentence, the Brock Purdy hate must cease now.
Oh, we know that's never going to happen.
Mm-hmm. I will ask you, you being a Patriot fan, but you being a football savant, why does this still exist?
Because everyone and their brother discounted what Brock could actually do, and to borrow the way to say it from the Hall of Famer Paul Heyman, Brock Purdy shut them up. And they hate getting shut up.
I mean, yes, we lost to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, but it's Patrick Mahomes. It's Andy Reid. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay? And it occurred with 3 seconds left in overtime.
And yet again, people still can't get over it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest problem out there is people just can't get over themselves when it comes to things.
Especially this. Especially the fact, you know what they were cheering? I don't know what they were cheering more. What's up, Chaos Rain? Chaos Rain show in the house with us. I don't know what they don't like more. The fact that the 49ers got to the Super Bowl and have a potential of getting to more and winning a couple, or the fact that Brock Purdy led them there. I'm willing to say it's the latter and not the former.
I think you'd have to ask the Moronic Republic of the Niner Nation on that one.
Now Victor's going to force me to come up with a name for those kind of fans. Because some of the 49er fans I've spoken to don't get it.
Oh, trust me. I guarantee you Victor's going to have me come up with the same type of name for the Patriot fans that are like that. And trust me, I've already been mulling around ideas.
Oh, God. Now, since we're talking football, and since you mentioned your Patriots, what do they do at the quarterback position? I'm going to keep asking this question probably 2 through and 2 during and after draft night.
Well, there's two lines of thought here.
What do they do? Because my thought is, since Nathan Rourke is on your roster, give him the football.
Like I said, there's two ways to go about this. There's two lines of thought. The common sense line, and then the Robert Kraft, oh my God, we've paid for this guy, so let's use him line.
Oh, jeez.
The Robert Kraft, we paid for it, so let's use him, is Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, man.
And that's not going to work out well. We know this.
No.
He'd be replaced by Bailey Zappi quicker than you know what.
Mm-hmm.
The common sense line is let Rourke start. We have Brissett as the third string and keep Bailey as the backup. But yet again, we also know when it comes to the draft, we're looking to draft a quarterback, so somebody's going to end up getting knocked out of the way.
I'll stay with my train of thought. Give Nathan Rourke the football. Give him the football. Now.
Like I said, that's the common sense way of doing things.
I mean,
that's complete common sense.
Did y'all not look at the way he handled things in the CFL before Jacksonville took a chance on him?
Ironic that Jacksonville took a chance on him. We end up shipping mac and cheese down there, and we end up getting their backup.
Mm-hmm.
Point is, the common sense way of doing things, you give Rourke the ball, we see where the dust settles in a few games, and hey, if everything's going well, he keeps starting.
Mm-hmm.
But yet again, the Robert Kraft, we paid for this guy, we're going to use him idea is, unless something drastically happens to Jacoby Brissett, he's probably going to be the one starting opening day.
I don't think that... yeah, that's the Robert Kraft way, as you say brilliantly.
And that includes the fact that we're probably going to be drafting somebody that, while not exactly the best option, would be a better option than Brissett. But again, Robert Kraft.
The disdain in your voice. Trust me, I had the same disdain back in the mid-2010s when we had Trent freaking Baalke as our owner. And you remember the debacle that went on there.
Yep.
Especially after Jim Harbaugh resigned. I think Jim Harbaugh saw the writing on the wall before Trent Baalke did. Good grief.
And Sick just brought it up. Why worry about the people hating on Brock? Profile gets raised every time his name's in their mouth.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing is they're raising him up without even knowing it.
That's scary.
Very.
That's scary. All he did was break the team record for most passing yards in a season.
Yep.
With 4,280. And then Kyle Shanahan did the smart thing and let him rest against the Rams in the season finale.
Yeah, and again, as we covered way back a few months ago, hard to believe saying that, 3 seconds away.
I was so worn out after that game.
I was there for the second half, overtime, and an hour of the post-game show when I was worn out.
I was dead. Period. I was dead.
Imagine how we're going to feel in New Orleans, dude.
Dear Lord.
I'm going to have a 12-pack of Monster next to me just to get through the game.
You know what we might do? Should we make it to New Orleans?
What's that?
If we're not in the dome, because it's going to be crowded.
Oh, easily.
It's going to be crowded in the Superdome.
Yep.
If we don't make it in the dome, we get a nice hotel room and cover it that way.
I'm in.
I nearly said something I should not have.
Bourbon Street will probably be busy that night.
You think?
I try to, but I don't want to smell bacon all the time. It'll make me hungry. Well, we said we needed a laugh.
You. There we go.
You fool!
That too.
Ready? And pull, Trace.
Get some room service and call the game.
Mm-hmm. And we gotta get a suite because I know Jody's gonna be there. We're gonna have a few guests in the room. Let's do that.
I'm game.
Let's do that. And that's if we don't get in the Superdome. But I have a feeling I'm in contact with some friends that are going to help us get there. Friday, I should say, Deb Whitkins will join us from Los Angeles, and we will preview the top 10 in the draft. Matter of fact, I know I had an NBA conversation set for the last hour. We're going to flip it and talk about the draft. Meanwhile, I have a little something to send to my sweetheart because she said she needed something from me, so I got to send her that. So we're going to take an extended break. And when y'all get back, draft talk for the final hour will close the show. Back in a minute.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids from the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pistol 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying, but this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe. Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister? How do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
1 o'clock straight up on the eastern side, and it's hour 3 of Snowman in the Morning. That's the Dog. I'm the Snowman, and let's talk NFL draft, shall we?
Oh, this is going to be good.
You and I have been making notes, and it's leading up to our live draft coverage at the end of the month. So let's just go down the line and laugh at some of these picks.
Oh, we've already blown apart Caleb Williams. You want to keep doing that for 20 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Why?
I'm game.
Because it's a stupid pick.
You're not kidding.
With a lot of these drafts, and the draft will take place in Detroit. Yeah, they're going to Ford Field.
Oh, Detroit's going to be.
Oh man, Detroit's going to be a madhouse. April 25th starts the draft, and we'll have live coverage of that. So, of course, as everyone knows, everyone expects the Bears to pick Caleb Williams first, and the Bear fan, the Midwest Committee of Bear Idiocy is so crazy.
Yes, they are.
The Bear Idiocy Committee is so crazy. And I have lunch now because my daughter is here. This is come here. You see the extra hands? This is my daughter. There you go. Huh?
Hi guys.
This is my daughter bringing me lunch.
I don't know what's going on here.
We're just talking sports.
Yeah, we're just making fun of the draft. That's all.
These are mine because they're mostly gone.
Okay. You and your mother in the fries. Y'all just eat a couple fries and then you split and then you leave. Thank you, my dear. Appreciate it.
And that's yours too.
Okay. Did you get some? Oh, that's yours.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And this. Hi.
Okay.
I love you.
Mwah. Love you.
I'm gonna go eat.
Okay.
Is there ketchup?
Yes.
Okay.
Man, I'm going to have to pop something in the oven when I get done here. Y'all making me hungry.
Yep. I told you she called.
I know.
She asked me what I wanted. She asked me what I wanted for lunch. Okay, back to business.
Caleb Williams being a dumbass pick.
And the Bears fans are so excited because they got Keenan Allen and DeAndre Swift. You know, listen. DeAndre Swift is going to get misused.
Easily.
They're going to depend. DeAndre Swift and Keenan Allen are going to get misused. Big time.
Oh, yeah.
Reverse the quarterback curse. Man, please.
There's no reversing nothing when it comes to the QB curse
in Chicago. They have yet to have a franchise quarterback. I've been watching the game 40 years. They have yet to have a franchise quarterback. The closest they come to a franchise quarterback, and I hate saying this aloud, was Jay Cutler.
Even though you're not wrong.
Mm-hmm. I hate saying it aloud. Now, to the Redskins at number 2, i.e. the Commanders.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh, you think so?
That's what's projected.
You want to know a projection I got here?
What's that?
Jaden Daniels from LSU.
Oh.
I think that would work. I think that would work.
It would be entertaining to see that for sure.
Mm-hmm. The Texans take a quarterback at number 2 and surge to the top of the division and win a playoff game. Now, what if the Commanders, i.e. the Redskins, take Jaden Daniels at number 2 and then they find some diamonds in the rough to secure the offensive line.
That could get entertaining for the NFC East.
It could. They'd be a dark horse. Number 3, the New England Patriots have.
If Marvin Harrison Jr. is still on the board, I guarantee you we end up taking him. If he's not on the board, they're looking to get Drake Maine. I don't think that's going to work out well. I'd rather see them take Malik Neighbors, if anything.
Well, this projection has Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State.
And that would be ideal because he would be the deep threat we need.
Yep. Arizona at number 4. This projection has Malik Neighbors out of LSU.
And again, that's the same deal with Arizona. They need a deep threat.
Mm-hmm.
And this would give it to them and hope that God, I can't even bring myself to hope their quarterback doesn't screw the pooch on things.
No comment.
None.
Not until later. At number 5, the San Diego Chargers. This projection has Talise Fuaga out of Oregon State, offensive tackle.
Well, they do need some help on the front line.
Mm-hmm.
This would give them a little bit of beef up front.
Yeah. Yeah.
He'd be able to help open up some holes for the running game.
Listen, Joe Alt is another ballyhooed offensive lineman. It's a more familiar name to the fans, and I remember his father John playing for the Kansas City Chiefs. But Fuaga has played right tackle, which is what the Chargers need to protect Justin Herbert. Rashawn Slater is already manning the blind side. Rashawn Slater from my beloved Northwestern Wildcats. Speaking of Joe Alt, this projection has him going 6 to the New York Football Giants.
Ooh. That would be a very interesting move.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that working for New York. I really could.
I'm going to go down the line. Here. Dag nabbit, where'd it go? I'm going to go to number 15 with my wife's beloved Indianapolis Colts. Either Brock Bowers from Georgia, Brian Thomas from LSU, but I got a different team that may select Thomas should he fall that far. And then this pick, A.D. Mitchell from Texas, 2-time national champion.
Ooh, that I think the 2-time national champion would be a better fit, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. You would think somebody that's a 2-time national champ would bolster an offense that needs it, especially with AR5, Anthony Richardson, being back in the fold and healthy and ready to compete for that number 1 starter. You know what I mean?
It would be very, very easy to do.
Who do they have for your mock at 15 with the Colts?
15 for the Colts. Believe it or not, Quinyon Mitchell for one of them.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, I know, right? A little bit of defensive help. And then another one I've got is Indianapolis actually trading the pick off to Denver so Denver can get Bo Nix out of Oregon.
You know what? That would work. Bo Nix would work for them.
Now, the mocks that I'm looking at, going back to my team for a moment, yeah, one of them's got Drake Maine. The other one, J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan.
I ain't impressed with J.J. McCarthy. I am not impressed with him. You got Sam Ehlinger. Leave it alone.
Right.
I mean, y'all have a mock has y'all choosing
either Drake Maine or J.J. McCarthy. A mock.
I'll answer that question.
Two mocks have us taking a quarterback in the third.
I'll answer that question. Don't do it.
There's no reason to, and we've already got 3, even though one happens to be Jacoby Brissett.
You got your starter. It's Nathan Rourke. Anyway, let's go to 31 with the San Francisco 49ers. And I love this pick to bookend the offensive line. Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma.
Mox I've got either has Enos Rakestraw Jr. out of Missouri or Kingsley Samotua out of BYU, offensive tackle.
Any one of those could work.
Easily.
But I like Guyton because he shares a connection with Trent Williams. And Trent Williams is the best tackle in the NFL right now. Period. Trent Williams is the best tackle in the NFL right now. And he's going to retire a 49er. Count on it.
I've got a couple more options for you at 31.
All right, talk to me.
Chop Robinson, Penn State. Jordan Morgan, Arizona.
Position.
Offensive tackle for Jordan, edge for Chop.
Oh, man. Now we need help and depth at both spots. We need depth at both spots. But one thing I will say that the 49ers do well, they find diamonds in the rough in the later rounds. They find diamonds. Brock Purdy, hello. They find diamonds in the rough in the later rounds. Here's a surprise pick that could help San Francisco. They have the Chiefs choosing this young man, but I wouldn't be surprised if San Francisco took a flyer on him first. Ladd McConkey out of Georgia.
That wouldn't surprise me. But how about a little bit of cornerback help? I got another draft I'm looking at. Cooper DeJean out of Iowa.
Ooh, underrated. I like him. Underrated.
Now, if we're looking at Indianapolis, I got a few different draft picks for you guys.
All right.
Teron Arnold, cornerback, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Quinyon Mitchell, Toledo, quarterback.
Right.
In a move, Indianapolis and Denver swap places.
Mm-hmm.
Indianapolis drafts Brock Bowers. Or you guys get some edge help. Leatu Latu from UCLA.
UCLA.
Edge.
You know where they have Brock Bowers going to? In this mock I'm looking at right here. We're going to do this again tomorrow with a deeper dive. We're just going over picks right now. We're going to do this tomorrow with a deeper dive on everybody, present and future. You know who the Raiders they have who they have the Raiders selecting at 13?
Try me.
Brock Bowers.
That could be interesting. And I've got everything from Michael Penix Jr. for them. Quarterback.
They need to take a chance on Penix.
I got Aramis Mims from Georgia, an offensive tackle.
Come here.
What?
Don't what me. Come here. Stuff. This pretty young lady is going to be starting a podcast soon, and I'm going to be producing it.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. And what's it called? What's it going to be called? Get Yourself Together?
Yeah.
It's going to be called Get Yourself Together. We already have the first subject. I can't mention it here.
Why? Oh, yeah.
I can't mention it here, or I get in big trouble.
Oh, really?
I would.
Oh.
All right, get out of here.
Okay.
I love you. Oh boy. The fun of being a dad.
I think we really need to dive into this a lot deeper at some point.
Beginning tomorrow.
I'm in.
16 days of draft coverage. That's what everybody else is doing, but we're going to do it the best. I'm going to stuff my face for a few minutes. We'll be back, and we'll talk more about the draft, and we'll continue with our talk with the Raiders about them possibly drafting Brock Bowers. Why did I say?
I don't.
You know what? I read a wrong name. I read a YouTuber's last name, and I'm looking at Brock Bowers here. Oops.
And I got a couple of other picks at Oakland. Yes.
Yeah.
Could use.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll start with we'll go through the AFC West. We'll do that.
Okay.
We'll go through the AFC West, and I'm going to start with the Raiders. No, I'm going to start with the Broncos. I'm going to start with the Broncos. Let's take a break. I'm going to eat something, and we'll get back with more after this.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying, but this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe. Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister? How do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
My beautiful daughter is here. She brought me lunch. My beautiful wife's voice is in my head, bringing us back from commercial. And we're talking NFL draft on this third hour of Snowman in the Morning. And we're going to do a lot more of this tomorrow. Start with the AFC West. And we're going to repeat all this.
Yep.
We'll start with Denver.
And I'm telling you right now, the 4 drafts I'm looking at, outside of one being a trade, all have Denver getting Brock Bowers. In the one that has the trade going, Brock Bowers gets drafted by Indianapolis. Denver drops to 15 to take defensive lineman Byron Murphy II.
You're not going to believe what I have here in front of me.
Try me.
Drake May, North Carolina.
Wolf. Absolute wolf.
Well, considering the fact that they have Jared Stidham and Ben DiNucci right now.
True.
And both of them suck.
Well, it's the least suckiest option out there.
I mean, they could sign Ryan over the hill, i.e. Tannehill.
True, they could, but look at the track record they've had with over the hill quarterbacks outside of Peyton Manning.
Russell Wilson, hello. Yes,
Yep.
Russell Wilson, we are talking to you.
You suck.
Russell Wilson has sucked since his last year's in Seattle. I already mentioned the Raiders, the Oakland Raiders, taking Brock Bowers.
And that's where I've kind of got things a little interesting.
Really?
Because I got one draft that has them picking up a trade from the Giants to go up to number 6 to get Jaden Daniels from LSU. I've got another one keeping them at 13 to get Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo, the corner.
Mm-hmm.
I got two others keeping them at 13, but one of them gets an offensive tackle, Tatis Fuaga from Oregon State,
and
another offensive tackle from Penn State, Omoyama Fashuno.
Say that 3 times fast.
I'd rather not. I had to deal with trying to pronounce. I had to try to deal with pronouncing Kobayashi during a NASCAR race 3 times.
That hurt.
Didn't it?
Well, they have the Chargers as we complete our run around the NFC West, taking Talis Fuaga out of Oregon State, offensive tackle.
And this is where it gets interesting on this end because I've got the Chargers as low as 23rd for the trade from Minnesota to get Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU. But I've also got them getting Fuaga from Oregon State in the 5 hole. Malik Neighbors. And they're even in the running to get Marvin Harrison Jr.
You know who everyone thought was in the running to get Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Arizona?
Chicago Bears.
They'd be better off with him than trying to get Caleb Williams.
You know that. And I know that. And a lot of sensible people know that. But as you said, common sense. And there ain't none.
You want to know what the absolute crazy thing is? Because I've got 6 drafts in front of me right now.
I think I'll have to do that tomorrow. What you got?
All 6 of them have the same top 2 going to the same 2 teams. Caleb Williams to the Bears, Jaden Daniels to Washington.
See, I agree with Jaden Daniels.
It'd be a great fit for Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels is the perfect fit in Washington.
Ooh, I actually stand corrected because Washington and 2 of them take Drake Maine.
How do you put it? Woof.
Yeah. And
plain
woof. And that puts in the 3 hole for New England, either getting, as I'm looking at it, either Joe Alt from Notre Dame, or we end up drafting Jaden Daniels from LSU.
You ain't getting Jaden Daniels.
No.
Washington is smart. They'll snatch him with the number 2 pick.
Easily.
Hell, I'll throw a curveball. If the Bears were smart, they'd snatch Jaden Daniels. But there's a caveat to that. And the caveat is, will they be smart enough to draft offensive linemen and find a couple of diamonds in the rough and put them on the offensive line and get some depth? I'll answer that for you. Nope.
Well,
they're so high on Caleb Williams. But I do have a pick here at 9.
So don't I.
Who's yours?
Jared Verse.
Who?
Florida State edge.
Nah. Scratch that. I have Rome Odunze, wide receiver out of Washington.
I'll give you another one.
Okay.
They get Malik Neighbors.
Hell no, they ain't getting Malik Neighbors. Any good player that falls to the Bears is going to get ruined, at least for the next 10 years until management changes and coaching changes.
All right, well, how about they get a little defensive help? Dallas Turner.
Who?
Alabama edge.
Again, who?
Good point.
Dallas Turner.
Yeah.
We haven't heard about him until the combine. Dallas Turner. Really? Really?
This is coming from CBS, dude. What do you expect?
That explains that. That explains that. I'm sorry, folks. I'm hungry.
Mine just finished up in a microwave. I'll grab it during the break. Taking a look through some of these other ones. Yeah. How about the Jets at 10 with ideas?
Oh no.
Well, you mentioned O'Dunes.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's also got Brock Bowers going at 10 to the Jets.
Oh, he'll get ruined quick.
Ain't that the truth? They've also got Fuaga going at 10.
Dear me.
Yeah, it's either the 6 drafts I'm looking at are either O'Dunes, Fuaga, or Bowers.
Mm-hmm.
How fast is that going to get screwed up?
Don't remind me. Let's take a break. We'll do more draft stuff and look at the NFC West when you all get back.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby!
Get ready for the 4 Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying, but this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Bobby J and Wise El Jefe. Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Caleb Williams sucks. Oh, did I say that aloud?
Caleb Williams, you a bitch.
You're not wrong. And he's going to be the number one pick in the draft.
And your best days are behind you because you never really had him to begin with.
Not even at Oklahoma.
Nope. Yes, everybody, we're back, and that's the opening lines for this segment.
Okay. Let's take a look at the NFC West and see what everybody's picking here as we take a look at our mock drafts. We'll do this by division, and we'll be more organized beginning tomorrow. Start with the top of the mountain in the San Francisco 49ers. One draft I have has them picking Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. One has Eric Rakestraw, cornerback out of Missouri. Ennis Rakestraw. Why did I say Eric? I'm tired. Ennis Rakestraw out of Missouri. What the hell is his name? Kingsley Swamataya. I think
Swamataya from BYU, the offensive tackle.
From BYU. Meanwhile, two other drafts have them having, and you told this to me already, Jordan Morgan from Arizona, offensive tackle, and Chop Robinson from Penn State, edge rusher.
And you know I also brought up Cooper DeJean from Iowa at corner.
You know what?
Any of those would work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Kingsley would give you guys, a shore up when it comes to the running game because he's been able to he'd be able to put a cork in a real big hole.
Yeah. Yeah. And the 49ers defensively last year were inconsistent. And this was still a top 5 defense, but they were inconsistent as all get out.
Yeah, and so you're looking at either shoring up the way to protect Brock and get a hole punched open for the running game, or you're shoring up a defense. Because I mean, Rakestraw was one of the decent corners. Looking at it here, you also had Cooper DeJean, which was another great corner. Let's take a look. Another offensive tackle being Jordan Morgan. So there's 2 options to protect.
Right. I think Morgan might wind up falling to San Francisco and not at 31 either.
You think he goes out of the first round?
I don't want to say yes, but I don't want to say no either.
Well, that could be interesting.
I think he will wind up, for some reason, I just believe he'll wind up falling to San Francisco.
That wouldn't surprise me, to be honest.
All right, more from the NFC West as we began with the division champion 49ers. Take a look at the LA Rams. One draft pick has Troy Fautanu, offensive lineman out of Washington. That will be good for them because they came on lately the second half of the year. And a part of that is part of the reason of that is their O-line came together. Another draft has Johnny Newton out of Illinois. This is an underrated defensive. Yeah, this is an underrated defensive lineman. I like that pick.
That would be interesting for sure.
Latu, edge rusher, going to the Rams out of UCLA. Byron Murphy from Texas. More defense, more defensive help for them. And the Rams are doing this right. They're shoring up their deficiencies.
Yeah, and the biggest thing they had in the second half was defense. All 6 of the drafts I'm looking at are the same 3 names.
Same.
Latu, Newton, and Byron Murphy. Either way you look at it, the Rams are probably going to be taking defense coming up.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I wouldn't be either. They need it.
One of the drafts I'm looking at has Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo, which would give them some back-end help and some back-end depth. Here's the problem. Aaron Donald retired.
Yeah. Good luck filling in that gap.
You lose a lot with Aaron Donald.
Oh, yeah.
You lose a whole hell of a lot with Aaron Donald, man.
That you do.
I want to see how they handle it, though, because their defense came on lately with the help of Aaron Donald. You know?
Oh, yeah. It'll be entertaining to see how they're able to gel together.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to see it. Now, to Seattle. And they were competitive all the way until week 17. They have one draft. They have one pick in the first round, and then they don't pick again until number 81.
Ouch.
And this draft has them selecting, well, one of the mock drafts I'm looking at. Side note, I don't do mock drafts.
No.
That will start a chain reaction that I'll never come back from. I do my research on the picks and then think about what the team needs. But I don't do mock drafts.
No, it'd be a whole hell of a lot of trouble for us to try to do a mock draft of our own.
I wouldn't be able to finish it.
Neither would I.
I wouldn't be able to finish it.
We'd be dreaming if we thought we'd be able to finish it.
I don't know how these guys do it. Seriously.
Too much time on their hands?
Maybe.
That's got to be the answer.
I don't know, but I don't know how they do it.
Neither do I.
Kudos to them for putting in the extra work. All right? Kudos to them for putting in the extra work. But I can't do it. I can research the prospects, and I'll do that all day long. I can research the prospects, but Seattle has them picking Jared Verse out of Florida State. That's one draft I'm looking at.
I was about to say, I've got a couple of different answers for you on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Fontu from Washington.
Yep. Latu from UCLA.
Yeah, Latu from UCLA. Let me take a look here, find them. How about Graham Barton from Duke?
That would be an underrated move for them to seal up their offensive line. My question is Seattle going to go after a quarterback in the late rounds? Because Geno Smith ain't the answer.
Nope.
I'm sorry.
Everything I'm looking at here, though, the only other name that pops up, Byron Murphy.
Oh, boy.
So unless Seattle makes a move,
they may make a trade to get back into the second round. Because after this first round pick, they don't pick again until number 81. And I believe that's round 3.
Yeah, it would be.
And then you have, God help us, the Arizona Cardinals,
who have 2 picks.
One I'm looking at right now has Malik Neighbors from LSU. Marvin Harrison Jr. on another mock draft board. And one of them has them trading the pick to Minnesota. So Minnesota will take Drake May at quarterback. Dear God.
Well, I've got this interesting.
Okay.
One board, and I'm just going to go down because Arizona's got the 4th and what is it, the 27th pick.
Mm-hmm.
One board's got them taking Neighbors and Latu.
Mm-hmm.
One board has them getting Marvin Harrison Jr. and J.C. Latham. That's intriguing.
Very much so.
Another board stays consistent with Marvin Harrison, but they end up going up to 20 in a trade with Pittsburgh to get Jared Verse
out of Florida State.
4th board has, again, Marvin Harrison, but here's one. Max Melton, the defensive back out of Rutgers.
I got one of my own. Jerjon Newton, defensive tackle out of Illinois. They need help on defense. Badly.
Okay. I see the board that's got the trade with Minnesota. Quenyon Mitchell, they end up dropping down to 11 to get him. And then they end up trading up with Minnesota to go 23rd. To get Jackson Powers Johnson. Inside line from Oregon.
Okay.
And how about having at the 3rd pick at 27, Xavier Worthy, a wide receiver out of Texas?
I have Xavier Worthy going somewhere else.
Last board I'm looking at is Marvin Harrison Jr. and another wide receiver at 27, Adonai Mitchell out of Texas.
A.D. Mitchell. You know where I have Xavier on one of the boards I'm looking at? You know where I have Xavier Worthy going? Buffalo Bills.
I could see that.
Because they need a burner after they got rid of the cancer known as Stephon Diggs.
That would not surprise me at all.
Would not surprise me either. All right, that's our look at the draft picks in the NFC West. We'll do more of this tomorrow, and we're going to go through every division until we complete the teams. When we come back, we're just going to pal around. Stay with us.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition,
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying, but this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Bobby J and Wise El Jefe, Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister? How do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Of course, tomorrow is Wednesday, and of course, we'll have Bronze Sexual Confessions to close the show. Join us then. Now, we're going to play a game. You're the general manager. You're in charge of the New England Patriots. And I want the chat to participate in this as well with their favorite team. Who do you pick in the first round and why?
Oh, sitting in the 3-hole. Well, we definitely need some wide receiver help.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see Marvin Harrison Jr. coming to New England. But we do need the offensive tackle help as well, because whoever is quarterbacking for us, God willing, it's somebody decent.
Well, you already know who I say should be your quarterback.
Yeah, Rourke.
Should be Nathan. It shouldn't even be a question, but go on.
If we get anything, I could see Joe Alt from Notre Dame coming in, because
that's the name I was looking at for you guys.
We definitely need the help. So I'd be torn between Marvin Harrison Jr. and Joe Alt. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Okay, my turn. I have two names of my own. If I were GM of the San Francisco 49ers. Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. And Joe Alt, Notre Dame.
It gives you guys the offensive line help you need to make sure Brock Purdy gets protected. That's for sure.
Right.
I mean, that's the biggest thing.
And Thomas would be a second deep threat behind Ayuk, who is going to sign an extension, by the way. Don't believe the hype. And it gives them depth at wide receiver. I mean, they re-signed Juwan Jennings for 1 year. They're working on getting the money for Brandon Ayuk. That's all that's going on.
I could definitely see that.
That is all that's going on.
Oh yeah, I could see that easily. I mean, it would make sense.
But you know how these mock boards go.
And
you know how these mock boards go.
Yeah, no one with common sense makes them, but yet again, they think they have common sense.
Yeah, common sense. If common sense were common, right? If common sense were common,
there'd be so many issues fixed in sports nowadays.
Yeah, especially with the elimination of politics. Oh, did I say that out loud?
And I can guarantee you one thing, NASCAR wouldn't be as screwed up as it is. Oh, wait a minute. Did I go there too?
You know what? You're going to close out the show. What was the segment title you told me?
The Dog's Garage.
All right.
Throw the door open. Let's do this thing.
We're gonna open the door and go inside the Dog's Garage. Take it.
So we had our first few races with the short track package this year, and it hasn't exactly been a resounding hit. A lot of people are wondering how they could fix things. Even the drivers are wondering, how can we make the show better? I got a little 5-step program.
All right.
3 of them involve the aerodynamics of the car. 1 is you get rid of all that underbody aero work. I remember watching the sport. If a car ever got upside down, or if they jacked the car up to do the pit stops, you never saw carbon fiber on the floor of the car. You actually saw, I don't know, the exhaust pipes, the axles, all of that. Nowadays, it's got a floor much like what they have in Formula One. Why? I'll never know. The second step to that process is to get rid of the front splitter. I get why you're trying to make these things look more like their road-going versions, but there's a problem. The road-going versions actually have something called a ride height. You can't have a stock car sitting on the ground thinking it's going to be a road-going version of its cousin.
Right.
So guess what? Third part of it, outside of getting rid of the splitter and turning it into a front air dam, need a ride height. It'll force you to get a little more creative on the setup of the car.
Did you say creative?
Yes, I said creative. Let's put a little bit of power back in the crew chief's hands. The fourth idea to help fix this sport, find a way to get the balance of the tire to gradually fall off so you don't go 200 laps on a set of left side tires like what they did at Martinsville this past weekend. Now, granted, I'm not saying go 50, 60, 70 laps on a set of tires like they did at Martinsville because that was a pure anomaly. But I'm not saying build a tire that goes 250 laps. Find something that gets in the sweet spot of the fall-off window so you actually have to make a run on them and conserve them towards the end of the run. Put a little bit of power back in the driver's hand. And oh, wait, that's the fifth step. Horsepower. You're only running 650 horsepower underneath the hood of these cars when all you got to do is snap your fingers and they're back to 950. They could have it within a week. All I got to do is take one piece off the motor and they're back to 950 horsepower. Everyone thinks a tapered spacer reducing air going into the motor. So all the drivers, Denny Hamlin on his podcast, retired driver JL Jr. on his podcast, have all said we could have horsepower back if NASCAR chose to do it. We saw barely anybody, and I say barely because William Byron started 18th at Martinsville, ended up winning the race, but we barely saw anybody able to pass at Martinsville.
True.
Put the power back in the driver's hands, or in this case, under the right foot. Force them to manage the car. We'll see comers and goers, and we'll see something called, passing. It'll put a better product out there, and maybe, just maybe, we'll see even better ratings because the last few weeks haven't exactly been the best in the ratings department for NASCAR. Yeah. Think about it, guys. I know I have, and that's my 5 steps to fix this problem.
And that takes us out of the Dawg's garage for this week. This is going to be a weekly segment.
I'm game.
This is going to be a weekly segment to close up the show. And we're closing up shop now. Whew. Mainly because I'm still hungry.
Makes 2 of us. I finally got my food out of the microwave. I haven't had a chance to really nibble on it yet.
Well, let's fix that right now. Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they're simply not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. We are, and we hope you all are too. So long, everybody. Oh, yeah, by the way, Stephen A. Smith, you still a dumb bitch.